What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to be doing a deck profile followed by a how-to instructional on how to play Chaos Pac-Man. What is Chaos Pac-Man? It's a Chaos variant of the Pac-Man deck. Pac-Man? What is that? It stands for Passive-Aggressive Camel Munching All Noobs, or the Pure Advantage Camel Munching All Noobs. The man's never debated, but it's either Passive-Aggressive or Pure Advantage, and the C is always for Camel. Why is it always for Camel? Because this Des Lakuta is your Camel. And he is for pure advantage, and he's very passive-aggressive. Now, why I call this passive-aggressive, it's actually a pun on passive-aggressive because it's a very passive-aggressive deck in general, but it's also the playstyle is very passive, and then it turns really aggressive when you want to win. Now, you win in one turn, but you set up for a lot more turns. All of that will be explained in later segments, so don't worry. This is just going to be a quick brief look at the deck. I'm not going to go through the extra deck, and I'll explain why in a later segment. Now, what I mean by segments actually is there'll be transitions and stuff between them, because I'm recording this somewhat in parts so I can piece all of it together later, because I'm doing different things with this. Just so I don't get confused with what I've already done, so don't worry, it's all going to be fine. So first off, we have two Black Dragons, one BLS, a Des Koala, 3 Des Lakutas, 1 Marshmallow, 1 Spirit Reaper, 2 Swarm of Locusts, 3 Swarm of Scarabs, 2 White Dragons, 3 Worm Links. For spells we have the 1 P.A.C.M.A.N, 2 MSTs, 3 Dualities, and 2 Swords Revealing Light. For traps we have Dark Bribe, 2 Dark Bribes, 2 Phoenix Chains, 2 Mirror Force, 2 Needle Ceilings, 2 Threatening Rolls, 2 Obakus, and a Wall of Revealing Light. The extra deck doesn't matter, and I'll explain why in a different part of this video, but I just want to go over a few brief things. Now, the idea of this deck is that you're not meant to play the best decks, play this against the best decks. You're only really meant to use it to embarrass noobs, because this is kind of a bad deck. And that's why we have Dark Bribes, which aren't really a particularly good card now that we have things like Wiretap or 7 Tools. Well, 7 Tools is an old card as well, but you understand what I mean. Why I have Des Koala? 18 defense is pretty good, the level 3 is pretty good in this. Almost everything is level 3. The only things which aren't are the Dragons, BLS, and the Wormlings. Wormlings is level 2. Just in case you wanted to know. It's also a Dark, which is very important for the theme of the deck, Chaos. Marshmallow, same sort of thing. There's a bit of burn. There's a lot of stalling with this card. A lot of stalling with Spirit Reaper. And if you don't know what they do, Locusts pop spells and traps. Scarabs pops monsters. Lynx draws cards. Lakuta draws cards. So this is the deck profile portion. I hope you enjoyed this portion, and the next portion will be Pure Advantage. So I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, so this is the Pure Advantage part of the video, where I talk about how this deck gains advantage. Now the first thing we mention is Des Lakuta. Fantastic card. When this card's flip summoned, you draw 1 card, and you can and once per turn you can change it back down to face down defense. All of this is kind of Ghost Trick mechanics. In that, I mean, you flip up, they do stuff, you flip down, they're okay. So you can play Ghost Trick Pac-Man. I think a friend of mine did that, and we played, and I won because the Chaos element is so aggressive that others just can't deal with it. So Lakuta draws 1 card for each time it's flip summoned. You obviously have stall cards like Threatening Roar and Obaku to stop it dying. There's so much to stop Lakuta dying, so you just plus crazy off of it. You flip summon, you draw 1 card, good. You flip it down, you keep it a second turn, you draw another card, great. Now other things that create advantage are Worm Links, which is a flip effect. During each end phase, if this card is face up, draw 1 card. So if this card's flipped up, during the end phase of that turn, you draw 1 card. During the end phase of the next player's turn, you draw another card. So you flip it on your turn, and you play Swords Revealing Light, It's like, you know, you end, you draw one card. Your opponent ends, that's one turn on swords, and when Links activates, you draw a second card. Your turn starts and you draw for a turn. You flip up a Lakuta, you draw again. That's like 4 cards just by like having one round. That's pretty good. That's gaining a lot of advantage, especially in cards. You may not be able to destroy a lot of things with just cards like these, but you know, you're gaining the card advantage, and that's wonderful because you need that. You need to have all of your pieces so your monsters don't die, so you can just ping away at theirs, get rid of all of theirs, and then go on like nobody's business. So other cards are Swarm of Scarabs. I briefly mentioned this in the last part of the deck profile. Scarabs is, when flip summoned, you target one monster on your opponent controls, destroy it. And then it can flip down. It can flip face down. Now I play free, so having more than one on the field is amazing because you just ping away their monsters and you will just gradually get board control. Like, you become the one with the monsters, and if they summon anything, you're like, Scarabs, pop, set, go. And you may be wondering like, oh, but there's still back row. But you know, we play MSTs, and this Swarm of Locusts, this is just like the Swarm of Scarabs, but it targets the back row. One spell trap your opponent controls, destroy it. Hold on a moment. Yes, 500 attack, 1000 defense on Scarabs, 1000 attack, and 500 defense on Locusts. They are the reverse of each other, which I love things like that. They both got reprinted in Astro Pack 3, which is kind of cool. I think the Camel did as well. So like, these are the cards that you use for just pure advantage, and basically this is the main part of, this is one of the main parts of the deck, the advantage. These are what you use to gain advantage. You use Locusts to pop the back row, you use Scarabs to pop the monsters, and then once the field is clear because your opponent has run out of things to do, you just Chaos Swarm and win. So the next part of this video will be, what do I want it to be? The stall element of the deck, because I feel that is more important than going straight to how to win. So we'll see you guys in the stall part. Welcome to the stall element of the P.A.C.M.A.N deck. This is the third part of the video, and we're going to start off with Spirit Reaper, as you can probably tell. If you should all know what this guy does. You basically set him, your opponent attacks, they're like, ugh, it's Spirit Reaper, now I have to waste a card on Spirit Reaper. But that card has to resolve now, it never used to. You could activate Vader on Spirit Reaper and Spirit Reaper would just die. Now, it lives. You could put P.A.C.M.A.N Spirit Reaper and it would die. Now, it just goes face down. So Spirit Reaper is really good because they have to waste something kind of alright on it, or just destroy it with a card effect, which is kind of okay, but it's level 3, it's a dark, and it's pretty stalling, and that's what you want in this deck. You want to live out. So you draw all your pieces and everything goes according to plan. Now a similar card to this is Marshmallow, who also cannot be destroyed by battle, but if your opponent attacks you when it's face down, they take 1000 points of damage. Now the burn is not important in this deck, but it adds to some sort of embarrassment for your opponent, and it kind of you can win off of burn in this. It's really hard to do, but you know, if your opponent attacks into Marshmallow and you book a moon it, book a moon the Marshmallow, and they've taken 2000 points of damage, right? Yeah, just things like that. But it's level 3, it's a light, and the main aspect of it is just that it can't be destroyed by battle, so you just leave it there as a defense. Which is where Descoella comes in. He's not really a stall because he can just be destroyed by battle. He inflicts 400 points of damage to your opponent for each card in their hand, so there's that slight bit of burn, but the 18 defense is pretty high, and that's kind of what he's there for. Now, that's the monster part of the, stalling. The only spell stall that we have is Swords of Revealing Light. I actually was in a grind game with someone, and I don't know how this happened, but I had a few cards left in my deck. I played Swords of Revealing Light. No, I asked how many cards were in their deck, and they were like, 3. And I was like, whoa. Swords of Revealing Light? And he's like, and I decked him out just by playing swords. How I decked him out without decking myself out, I will never know. Because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of advantage to gain in this. So that's why the sword cards can be very good. You can deck out your opponent if all goes not too well. If you're able to, that is. Oh wow, the first edition's on the bottom of the card now. Yay! Yay. Wow. I'm not sure how I feel that. So, this is the stall element for spells. Now traps, I think my favourite is Wall of Revealing Light. You pay 3,000 and then any monster they have a 3,000 or less attack. Just can't attack. Like, at all. And you use this to stall, and you can pass off of your Deslacuda and your Wormlinks, drawing all the cards in the world. And then, like, have your Locusts and Scarabs for defense. Just ping away, and all is well. Other things are like just like Wabuku. Wabuku stops your monsters from dying, but you're kind of in an awkward position. Where your monsters are now face up. Not all of them you want to be face up, like you don't want to have to flip your monsters down to flip them up to get their effects. Like you don't want to have Deslacuda face up in attack mode, but you can't flip him down because you had to play Wabuku. So that's why we also have Threatening Roar. So your opponent just can't attack. We also have Needle Sealing in case your opponent is making plays and then you're just like, I don't want this. I actually once did open really badly and I just set a Deslacuda and I set a Needle Sealing because that was all I could do. And my opponent, this is their first turn, they just overextended and like swarmed the field and I was like, Needle Sealing? And he was like, oh god damn it. And then I proceeded to win from there because he had lost so much advantage by this one card. And I thought, wow, good thing I didn't lose then. Also on the same sort of lines we have Mirror Force because your monsters will always, not always, but they will mostly be face down. You're never going to really attack your opponent until you have like a clear shot at winning. Like your opponent has no back row, no monsters, and you have your Chaos Swarm. So Mirror Force is like really good because your opponent will attack you and you're just like, okay, Mirror Force. And then they lose all their attack position monsters and they've lost advantage and you've gained some just by this one card. Other things are Fiendish Chain because you need to negate effects, you need to stop attacks, and all of that. And with all of these like used in the right way, you can kind of get over many things. Like one thing I did, like I beat Raccoons. One thing that I had to do a lot was play Needle Sealing and ask and go, response? And my opponent said, no, and I went, okay. Chain Fiendish Chain to the Ronin Raccoon. And then he was like, oh. And I'm like, yeah. Because Chain Link 1 becomes Needle Sealing, Chain Link 2 is Fiendish Chain. Fiendish Chain resolves and the Ronin Raccoon has no effect. And then Needle Sealing resolves and it's destroyed with the token and everything else. You have to combine your cards to help you gain advantage. So with that, the next part of the video will be like how your finishing field should be. And then I'm going to talk about strategy, like just simple gameplay. So I'll see you in the next part, and then after that, we'll be near the end of the video. Sorry it's going to be a long one, guys, but thank you for sticking around. This is trying to be like an informative video of how to play this and how it's all going to work. And welcome to the finishing field. Now, as you can expect, BLS is probably the key card in this, and you can just imagine why. Chaos deck, BLS, 3000 attacker, able to protect twice, He's pretty good. He is pretty good. But he's not like one of the most important cards. You can still win without BLS. Now I think like my ideal field that I see a lot is actually having Daigusto Phoenix, one of the only cards in the extra deck that actually matter. I will go over that in a moment. So Daigusto Phoenix, Leviathan Dragon, Levier the Sea Dragon, either a white dragon or a black dragon, and BLS. Now Daigusto Phoenix will either make him attack twice, so he'll be 3000 attacking, or the Levier attack twice, for 3/6. BLS attacks on top of that, that's 6/6 if you're making Levier. The Phoenix makes that just over 8000, and you've still got more to spare. That's what I like about this, it can just swarm from the setup you have made. And that's how you should always have it, like you don't need BLS, like you can have, like still like this, with that like 3000 attack, that's 5/5, and then that's 7,300, and then you should be able to have like a white dragon to make it game, or the black dragon to make it game, or just like anything 700 attack or more. Like it's so easy to OTK when you just have all of these. But like you could also like make Levier attack twice, so that'd be like 3/6, and then well that'd be 2/5, and that'd be like 1/5, so 2/5 and 1/5 is like 5,000, and then the 3/6 is like 7,600, so you really just need anything 400 attack plus, and you have so many things of Villa attack that can win like that. So this is what your finishing field should look like. BLS isn't needed, the dragons aren't actually that needed, you can have the overlay, the Xyz monsters just do all the work, but it's a chaos deck, so you can have the chaos cards to do that extra bit of help to get over 9,000 damage. Yeah. So I guess what you're really wondering is why I've mentioned this a few times, but the extra deck doesn't matter. And the extra deck doesn't matter because you're playing like 3 level 2s, so the only level 2s you... Level 2... Eh? What? No? What? Sorry, it's messing with me saying level 2 and then talking about Xyz. You only play 3 level 2s, so the only rank 2 Xyz monsters you want are Daigusto Phoenix, which is this wonderful little thing, and maybe Gachi for defense. Now the rank 3s that you only need are just things that can detach. So anything like situational, like Alucard or Leviathan Dragon or Levier. Levier is pretty good because you can get a banished monster back and have another X and just make another Xyz. it's pretty wonderful, really. Just anything that can just detach. Like I've even used, oh, what was it? It was hold on. Let me grab my cards. Oh, where are you? Which one are you? Melody the Brass Djinn. It's once per turn you can detach one Xyz material from this card to target a Djinn monster, Xyz monster, and it can attack twice in the battle phase. Which, it's just like an extra attack. And that's all that it's there for. It's just detach, attack twice. Go, 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 go. Attack, damage, win. That's pretty much all it is for. So that's why the extra deck doesn't matter, and that's why that's like the beauty of the Chaos Monsters. Like you can just make them so easy because the deck is just full of lights and darks. Wonderful, right? So with that being said, that's how you should finish up your games. You flip up all your monsters, you overlay them, and then punish your opponent for not being able to keep up with you. Because you gained so much advantage that you could draw all of these and stall cards, so you could just do this. And it's actually like very easy to get off. It's crazy. So with that being said, this really concludes the video. It really does conclude the video because like I'm sure you'll be able to understand like how to play the deck. But I'm gonna go through like some just like Am I gonna go through some basic things? Am I? Will I? Should I? I'm pretty sure I had a video before where I had a game playing Chaos Pac-Man, and I'm gonna link that into the description so you can see me play it. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna have one more segment of this video, which I'm not entirely sure what it is right now, but I will probably figure that out in about 5 minutes and then record it. So I will see you in like 30, it'll be like seconds for you, but it'll be like 5 odd minutes for me. So I'll see you then. Welcome back. It was basic strategies and stuff and plays and thingamajiggies that you're meant to do and things you can do. Now, I forgot to mention like a lot of what I've just said, so this is the part where that's all that. Now, I didn't actually talk about any rank 4s in the extra deck. That's because you're only really meant to summon the dragons if you're winning, if you're going to win. Now you can play rank 4s, I believe in the deck I play in person, I play a Ragnar Zero, a Dire Wolf, a Cowboy, and a Silent Honor Arc Knight. And that's just situational, because you can play any you like, and they will all be situational, and that'll be fantastic. I also play Soul of Silver Mountain because, well, basically, you have an excess material on it, you destroy a monster, free Jess Lakuta, flip Lakuta down. Good going. So, with all of that said, basic plays are pretty much, like, as you can imagine, set the Lakuta, set the monsters, ooh. Now, you really do need things like your Wubukus and your Fiendish Chains, and you need all of it. So I'm gonna like suggest going second until you like are so comfortable playing the deck that you're able to like figure out like how a first turn play. What I mean by that is like go second so you draw the 6th card, because having the 6th card is pretty key because it's a really Storm combo-ish deck. It's slow, it needs the 6th card. But when if you become comfortable with it, you can play first and have 5 cards to play with. It's a bit risky doing that, but when you become so sure of how to play, you can kind of figure out from the hand like what to do, what is the best. You can let your first monster die. Don't worry about that. You can let some monsters die, just as long as you're able to keep some form of advantage. Well, you don't keep advantage if you let your monsters die. As long as you're able to, at some point in the game, regain advantage, you should be fine. You should be able to win. I'm not entirely sure what it was I played against, but I've beat a lot of things with Chaos Pac-Man. I only lost to one random spell counter deck when I was playing in person, and I have no idea how that happened. And I was like, I have beaten Mermails, I have beaten Raccoons, I've beaten Gravekeepers, I've beaten Ghost Trick Pac-Man, I've beaten so much. I've beaten Dragons and Apex Ninjas and what else? But I lose to spell counters? Crazy. So you don't always win against things, which is, as you can expect, which is like really, it's really expected, as you can expect. It's bad English. Oh man, I've had so many energy drinks and so little sleep that I just don't know how to speak anymore. Ugh. Terrible. Anyway, what is it? So basic play is just like, yeah, you send your monsters, you flip them up, you flip them down. You don't overlay until you are going for the win. Like, if you're going for the win, overlay away. Go for it. If you aren't going for the win, if you aren't able to OTK in that turn, don't overlay. I was watching a friend play my deck, and he's like, okay, flip up the Kuda, draw a card. Summon something else. Overlay into a rank 3. And I'm like, no, why are you doing that? Don't do that. He can have stuff. That's not how you play the deck. You do have to play this slow. You do have to play this in a very control-based manner. You have to think about what your opponent is doing and how the cards you have can stop them, how you can play around them. I'd say there is an aspect of skill to play this deck, and I'd love to introduce players how to play this, and I'd love to make players play this so that they can understand how chains work, how control decks work, because I love control decks. If you're able to tell, I love control decks. I also love some aggressive decks. I love synchro decks so much. Yeah, if you're able to tell that I love control decks, you should be able to, because that's basically how I play. Worms are a very control-based deck. Fusions are as well, but I kind of like a bit more, I like less linear plays, really. So, that's why I don't play Boojins. Also, I don't really see anyone play Boojins anymore. Interesting. I wonder why. So yeah, I like Worms because they're a control-based deck. They require some form of skill because there are a lot of plays you can do and a lot of things that can happen. And it's not a linear deck, and it's not even a high-tier deck. You need the skill and the understanding of the game to play them, and to play them well and to win with them, and that's exactly why I think this Chaos Pac-Man deck is good, because you have to do the exact same. You have to really gain advantage through all of your cards. You have to play a game of how much value can I make? Value Lakuda, drawing more than one card. Even drawing one card, there's still value. This is like me talking in Hearthstone terms now. If anyone's actually played Hearthstone, this Lakuda is pretty much like an equivalent of Nat Pagel. Except, well, yeah, I guess. Because the idea is 50% of the times you draw with Nat Pagel. Okay, so it's a very poor way of explaining this, but you will always draw with Death Lakuda if you have it. It's a 50-50 chance. It's a 50% chance that you won't have Lakuda. So it's 50% chance you'll draw. It's a terrible way of explaining it because there are a lot more things that can happen, which make the percentages not 50%, because the answers won't always be, do you have Lakuda? Yes. Do you have Lakuda? No. The sort of fake negations and all of that, so that's kind of why it's like a Nat Pagel, but it's not really. Yeah. Anyway, the idea of this deck is you play it to get the most value. You get the most value, you get the most advantage. You have the most advantage, you have the easiest chance to win. Locusts will pop back row, MSTs will pop back row, Scarabs will pop monsters, playing multiples will get you, having 2 Scarabs. Say your opponent starts off with 3 monsters, has 3 monsters on the field, and you have 1 Scarab, you set a Scarabs. And they go to attack and you play, they hit to battle phase and you go, okay, threatening roll. And they're oh, okay. So you flip up 1 Scarabs and they're down to 2 monsters. You set it, you set a second Scarabs, and you set I don't know, let's say Waboku. So they summon a monster so they're back up to 3. Then they attack and you go, okay, Waboku, and they're So you set your Scarabs, you flip them up, and they lose 2 monsters, so they're now at 1 monster. Your Scarabs are stuck up because Waboku. But let's say you set swords. They summon a second monster, you flip 2 down, you flip 2 up, they're gone. It's a slow removal, it's slow advantage gaining, but it's wonderful and you can really snowball from that. What I mean by that is, when you start to gain cards and advantage, you can keep going and going and going and just cause a problem for your opponent because they'll be unable to deal with the amount of advantage you have. And more than that, they'll be unable to deal with just your entire field. You flip up the Wall of Revealing Light, pay 3,000, they need a monster 3,000, they need a monster over 3,000 to deal with that. Or they get MST. If they have MST, you have other things. You have 2 Mirror Force, 2 Waboku, 2 T-Roll, 2 Fiendish Chains, which aren't as good as the others, but you know, and the 2 Swords Revealing Light. Like, you have to play it slow. You have to only overlay when you want to win, when you can win that turn. You play everything to keep your monsters alive and well, but don't be too like eager to play your cards. Like if you have one monster and they have one, don't be too eager to go like threatening roll. Like, it's okay to let your first monster die. It's not the end of the world. I did actually shuffle my deck and play a hand, and I was like, let's hypothetically play my opponent. Which I actually hate hypotheticals. They're really kind of naff. You never say, you always like, in a hypothetical, you always like give the opponent the best. And you have to use your best to play around it, and that's why I don't like them. So anyway, like, I was just like simple things, just like, opponent has, like, the most generic things, like, opponent summons monster of, I know, 18 attack. 1,800, that's what I mean by 18. And I'm like, So I had a Lakuta and I set it, and I was just like, okay, I'll set a T-roll, I'm going first, I have like 3 cards in hand now. So I set to like, so I was like, is it like better if I play the T-roll or not? So I played it. It turns out like in that situation it was, because draw for turn, Lakuta draw for the second threatening roll, and I was like, oh okay. And then I snowballed advantage from there. Like, you can do it, and if it pays off really well. If it doesn't pay off, then that's really unfortunate, but you know, it's all good. Now, you shouldn't aim to take damage, and you shouldn't aim to take that much damage. Like, the only damage you should really take is River Wall of Revealing Light, but that's about it. If you are taking more damage than that, then you've probably lost, and that's really annoying and unfortunate, and I've been there. And it's not very nice, and I'm aware. And this is probably the longest segment of the entire video. Fantastic. Now basically, I hope you all kind of understand like how to play this. Like, you're meant to flip your monsters up, flip them down, flip them up, get their effects, and then flip them down. You don't want to flip down Spirit Reaper, Marshmallow, or Death's Koala. Those 3 are just for stall and sunburn. You definitely need to flip down Lakuta, Locusts, and Scarabs. Wyrmlinks is just to draw in your end phase, your opponent's end phase. Like, it's a really good card. It's also a light, it's level 2, it goes for Dagusto Phoenix, and that's all you really wanted to do. So with that, I hope you understand how to play the deck, and I hope you understand not to be so quick and rush into things and lose advantage. The idea is basically to gain advantage. The entire deck is built around pure advantage. That's why it's called the Pure Advantage Camel, munching all noobs, because you typically play this against like bad players, and then they can't handle it, and then they lose. But if they're a good player, they'll figure out what you're trying to do, and they can play around it, and then you'll lose, and then you're like, oh, okay. That happened. So basically, that's why it's Pure Advantage Camel, and that's why it's munching up noobs, because the idea is that a good player won't lose to this. Like, a good player can lose to this, but the idea is that they won't, because they'll figure out a way to play around it. You can play around almost anything. Well, you can play around anything, really. You can even play around Hat. The moment you figure out how to play around Hat, you have a better chance against them. It's not hard. Is there anything else I want to say? Like, I've mentioned it, like, the deck is slow, you have to play it that way. It's a control deck, you have to play it that way. When your opponent has no cards, then you can swarm an OTK, and that's how you win. Don't overlay too fast. The only overlay I'm going to suggest you can do before you go for any killing methods is 2 Lakutas for Soul of Silver Mountain, because you can just detach 1, freeze a back row, and then attack, destroy a monster, get your Lakuta back. And then draw from that Lakuta. And that's just small advantage games that anyone can do. And I actually want to see people play this. I will link videos that I have played this deck down in the description, and I will also have timestamps on when the segments end and all of that. So don't worry about it, it's all gonna be fine. You can skip to parts, you can ignore parts if you want to. So, all that said, is the video done? This is the longest part, I'm sorry for that. It's gonna be a long video. It's gonna be a long video, I say at the end of the video. Good for me. So sorry it's like such a long video, I hope you understand why it's so long. It's because it's a how-to video. I want to make more of these, I'm not entirely sure how I want to make them, and that's why this is a bit all over the place. I think like the next one I'm gonna do will... I don't have no idea what I want the next one to be on, and if I want to make a next one, I'd love to make the series, but I'm not entirely sure about it, so feedback is really recommended. Like, leave any feedback, good or bad. I want to know how to improve this series, or if I should just drop it all together. So like, favorite, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. I'll see you guys in the next videos. If you didn't like this one, you know, you can always pretend it's just kittens. Everyone loves kittens, right? Yeah, kittens.